US customers, don't forget to use coupon YouTube as you will get an extra 15% off of your order. Now, in the meantime, the paint has dried up and we're ready to move on to some final assembly and some detail stuff. So first of all, it's a quick wax on and then another quick wax off, and then we move on to some more details. On the real cars, there is some caulking or some silicone used between the over fenders, the front bumper and the side skirts. Now, I'm not going to try to simulate this with paint as these edges are not deep enough on most of these parts, and I had some of this electro cut vinyl laying around, which I thought would come in handy, so I cut some really narrow strips and put it in between those lines to simulate the look that the real cars have as well. The first one down, the other three followed quickly after, and then I moved on to cutting a wider strip for the front band on the bumper, and that got put on in the same fashion, just wrapped around and cut to the same width as the front bumper had it. I could have tried using the same vinyl for the window rubbers, but it would have been using a lot of that stuff and throwing pretty much 90% out, and I thought that was a bit of a waste, so I masked off a small amount of the window rubber to get the straight line and then did the rest freehand, just with a Citadel, otherwise known as Games Workshop brush, and some Vallejo black paint, thinned down a tiny amount with some of the Vallejo thinners. Some of the other edges or meeting parts between the body kit also needed to be filled, but the vinyl wasn't really in good use for this, so I just filled it with some black paint to simulate the same effect in those panel lines. With pretty much all the detail painting on the body done, I could move on to putting some of the clear parts in, starting with the side glass and then the rest following. Just put it in place and then added some of Revell's Contact Clear cement on it so it would stay in place. The rear window needed a black border around it, so I put some masking tape on it and cut that out into the shape that it needed to be, then just painted it in a couple of light layers of phyleo black. The headlight lenses on the front got a black bezel. The bezel was already molded into the clear part, so I just painted it with a permanent marker from the inside. The bezel is now black, so I put some of the Revell Contact Clear on the body and then put the clear part in place for the headlight.
Have you ever felt? Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
And for the final piece of the body before the interior could go in, I added some mesh in the front bumper, and that's pretty much all there is for now. In the next episode, I will start with all the separate parts and painting those, and maybe some assembly of the chassis or interior.